Hey guys, what's up? Know it's been a while. It's November 2nd, which is hard to believe. Almost 8 o'clock. Game 3 of the World Series is about to start. Disappointing that my Yankees went out in disappointing fashion, embarrassing fashion. So I am taking great pleasure in the Phillies giving a bit of a shellacking yesterday, and hopefully the Phillies can wrap this up. I am not a Philly fan. However, my whole thing is that the team that knocks out the Yankees cannot win. Not to mention the Astros are loathed by many fan bases, so I will not be disappointed seeing the Phillies win the World Series. And there's some New York connections. You know, you got Wheeler, you got Syndergaard, you got Robbie Thompson, who used to be with the Yankees for a long time. So, we Yankee fans are going to live vicariously through the Phillies going through this time. But I know it's been a while, and actually, before I got into the Crown Jewel, the early predictions for Crown Jewel, I was going to do some notes, some news and notes before I got into it. But what I think I'm going to start doing, so I can at least post, content a little more frequently, is maybe do some profiles on some of the wrestlers. I mean, like for example, Rhea Ripley is just tearing it up. I mean, this is probably the best they have used Rhea Ripley, since she debuted in NXT. So I kind of do want to do a little bit of a chronicle on that because, she was in NXT, she was tearing up down there, she came up to the main roster, she was feuding with Charlotte Flair, and it seemed like, I mean, I know the feud with Charlotte didn't happen right away, but just the feud with Charlotte, it seemed that she sort of lost steam after that. And then, they threw her into the tag team thing, and, it just seemed like they were having a hard time finding a place for it. But just right now, she is just killing it with Judgment Day, a faction that I thought was dead. But like I said, I'll do more things, even like with Austin Theory, because I feel Austin Theory, since Vince has left, has lost some steam. And there was a little bit of an article about what they're going to do with him with Money in the Bank, about him possibly dropping Money in the Bank to somebody else because obviously not going to have him cash on Roman. So I think that's what I'm going to start doing going forward. So I can just post, because I really only post if like a major news happens, or just before a pay per view just before a live event, a premium live event, or after a premium live event, and that could be months, several weeks in between. So just to be able to do a little bit more frequently, I think that's what we start doing. I don't want to do a video on every single Raw and every single SmackDown. I just think that gets a little tedious, because something might suck one Monday and it might be better the following Monday, or they might explain it. There might be some some continuous to it. So that's what I'm going to do going forward. Just try to do some more videos, more profiling. I have recorded an AEW episode. I didn't post it because I really didn't like it. When I played it back, I felt like I was more rambling than anything else. Just the issues that AEW has, and I'm gonna work on that and just circle back, because it's sort of funny. Some of the thoughts that I had, you could see like in Dave Meltzer's, some of his postings. You know, we some things we could have had like the similar tone on, like the immaturity of Sammy Guevara and that sort of stuff. But I will circle back to that. But right now, this is my early predictions on Crown Jewel. I have made my feelings known on Crown Jewel, that I feel that this is just a stupid event, a waste of an event. This is just a money grab. Some want to say it's WWE's blood money. If you want to do that, call it that. That's fine. However, I will say that there is a noticeable difference with this. And the card that they have put together, I dare say is a card that you could probably see on a Royal Rumble or even a SummerSlam. Not a WrestleMania, that's going too far. But maybe a SummerSlam. I mean, now the quality of the matches, that's a different story. But just looking at the card, Triple H and his team have sort of made this an almost, must watch event. I mean, I was just stunned as they continue to build the card for this that they have put some effort into this. And maybe that was because people felt that the Crown Jewel event was a bullshit event. And again, it was just a money grab, and there was really no significance, no importance to it. You were just doing stuff because it's what I don't know, the prince or whoever they made this deal with, wanted to see. If you remember a few years ago, he was making requests that he wanted The Undertaker, he wanted Goldberg, he wanted Yokozuna, not realizing that Yokozuna had died years ago. So they were really doing things to appease whoever was making these requests. But I mean, now, come on, you're going to have a steel cage match there. You're going to have a last woman standing. I mean, this is something that you would probably see on a SummerSlam. Maybe punched up a little bit more. Maybe swap out a few. Maybe the Usos would be facing the Brawling Brutes. Maybe it would be Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who I think will be positioned to be the ones to end the Usos tag team reign, because that was a question of who was going to unseat them. Did you want to go back to the New Day again? We've seen the Street Profits so many times, and obviously they didn't get the job done. So it was a question of who was going to be that fresh team you were going to bring up. Would you have brought somebody up from NXT? Well, Gallows and the OC is back now. So my guess would be you would see these guys probably do it. And I think there's a good chance, and I think it's very believable that these guys can unseat the Usos. So hats off to Triple H and his team of making an event that I may actually sit my ass down and actually watch it live, because I was just going to, probably play some video games. If the baseball game was going to be on, I would watch the baseball game. I'm not even sure what time this event even starts, because usually it starts in the daytime. Does it say here when it starts? I'll look up the start time, but I definitely would have done something, something else besides sitting down and watching this, and I just would have went back and just watched it later. But they have put together a somewhat compelling card, and I have to say, I am just really, really surprised. Because, I was ranting about why is Logan Paul the one that gets to do it. So the starting time is going to be at 12 o'clock. So, yeah, I would have probably been running errands, doing all this stuff, which I probably still will do and just have to watch it later. But, beforehand, I definitely would not have made an effort to sit down and watch this event. So it's going to be on at 12 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm still doing my errands around that time anyway. I probably will still do that, but I will probably really make an effort to, at least by the time I'm finished doing everything I'm doing, to sit down rather than say, okay, like I'll just watch it on Sunday, or I'll just, catch the clips on YouTube or something like that. So hats off. Now, there were some reports about an attack that Saudi Arabia had shared some information with the United States that there may be some imminent attacks from Iran, identifying where these guys might potentially hit or cause an attack. There was some trepidation of whether or not the show would go on. As of now, the last that I saw, they still plan to do the show. I don't know if it's too late to move it. I mean, you have several days. You can certainly produce the show near NXT. Where NXT is produced. I'm sure you can't find another arena here in the country short notice, but maybe you could. I don't know. But, no, you probably wouldn't do that because, tickets are not on sale here. You know what I mean? So if you wanted to fill a stadium, there's no way you could do that, So you could probably sell a couple of seats where you produce NXT and just have the show there, just to be on the safe side. If I was running it, I honestly probably would have pulled the show. and just said, due to the recent announcement, just for the safety of everybody, we're just not going to do this, and we'll just have to owe you a show. Because if you recall, 2020 there was no Crown Jewel because of COVID. Everything was shut down, and I mean this is a good reason. And I would think, in that area, when you did the contract, you would say, we can sit here and pull a show if we feel there are safety concerns, and that's a major safety concern. I mean, the last thing any of us want to do is sit here and turn on the Peacock network, and watching an event and see people, running, or seeing an explosion, and, see the feed get knocked out. You know what I mean? Like, none of us want to sit here and see something like that. So on a safety side, I would wait. I would pull the show, wait until, the temperature comes down, and then I would go and do a show there. And, you would have to really produce and make it better than what you have now. But like I said, as of the last read that I saw just before I signed on to do this, the show is still going to go on. So that can always change. There's still, you still have one more day. I would assume that they're going to fly over there probably Thursday night, early Friday. They're going to fly over there. I'm not quite sure how long the flight is. I don't know where they're leaving from. But, there is still some time to call it. And we'll see if they call it tomorrow. And if they're going to leave early Friday, maybe they'll call it sometime Friday. I don't know. Maybe they'll call it while they're in the air. They'll turn around. Who knows? They say they have contingency plans. They have safety plans in place. So let's just hope that everything just turns out well. Everybody can go to the show, be safe, enjoy it, return home safely. That goes for WWE, and that goes for those who will be attending at Saudi Arabia Live. So let's get into this shockingly surprising card. All right. So we'll go from bottom to the top. I just had it here. I lost it. Give me 1 second. Okay. So this is a bit of a surprise that they took the women's tag team titles off of Dakota Kai and Io Sky. And, a little confusing where they're going with this. It looked like that they really wanted to position Damage Control to be a dominant force in the women's division. And, I still expect Bayley to dethrone Bianca Belair. Now, the question is, are they going to do it now? Or are they trying to push this to WrestleMania? Do they feel this is the WrestleMania card? A worthy match. This would be the third time that they're facing each other. 2 title matches, 1 non-title match. I don't know if you can push this. And the only way that I can see them doing another Bayley-Bianca match after this is Bayley winning the Women's Royal Rumble. And I don't know who is another realistic opponent for Bianca Belair after Bayley. Could you do Asuka? Yeah, you can. You can pivot to Asuka. Can you do Alexa Bliss right now? I would say no. Can you do Nikki Cross, who just came back to her old persona? No. Are you going to have Sasha Banks return? There's still some rumors about that, and I didn't see it, but they said there was something positive. Maybe Sasha Banks comes back. Maybe they're saving Sasha to be a surprise entrant for the Royal Rumble. Maybe that's what they're doing. But if Bayley doesn't do this, I think that's going to be it for a while. And if they're not going to go with Bayley at the Royal Rumble, which, listen, guys, we're already in November. Okay, before you know it, Royal Rumble's going to be here, and then before you know it, it's going to be WrestleMania season. Okay, this year kind of flew by. So my guess would be if they're not going to go with Bayley, they might go with the returning Sasha or Naomi. I think they'll probably go with Sasha. Because I can't see somebody outside. Well, let me take that back. You have Rhea Ripley, who's been on a tear. So I can see them, if they're not going to go with Bayley, I can see them go with Rhea Ripley. I can. So, but anyway, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Damage Control. I don't see Triple H doing this flip-flop booking like Vince did. So, obviously, I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss and Asuka retaining the tag team titles. I don't see why you would have them win it on Monday just to have them drop it on Saturday. To me, it just makes no sense. So, this is not going to be an exciting match. This is not going to be a must-see match. But I am going to go with Asuka and Alexa Bliss retaining. This is another one that's going to be a clear, an obvious match. The Usos versus the Brawling Brutes. Clearly, the Usos are going to win. Just like Roman, the Usos are not dropping their titles. The Usos are going to hold this until WrestleMania. Now, the question is, will they lose at WrestleMania or will they retain at WrestleMania? I should say either way. As I've been saying for the longest, if they go with The Rock versus Roman, Roman is going to walk out of WrestleMania with his title. The question is, are you going to start to put some, cracks in that foundation that Roman kept his title, but the Usos lost theirs at WrestleMania? I don't think the bloodline walks out intact with all their titles at WrestleMania. But all the events leading up to it, they will. So the Brawling Brutes are not dethroning the Usos. Now, the question is, will Sami Zayn be there? Because Sami Zayn has not gone to any of the Crown Jewel events. He has not gone to any of the Saudi Arabia events for personal reasons. So the Usos can still win in their fashion because Sika will be there. But the way things have been going so far, is Sami willing to look past his personal reasons for not going to Saudi Arabia? Because if you remember, I believe Roman didn't go 1 year, but then he ended up going. I did comment on this, but now I can't remember. I know Daniel Bryan refused to go. I don't know if he ended up going to one of them. Because I know in the beginning he said no. Because he was protesting the Jamal Khashoggi killing. But I don't know if he went after that. Or if he kept that. That I don't remember. But I do remember Roman not going 1 year. And then he went another year. So, but Usos are retaining their titles. Now here's the tough one. Bianca Belair versus Bayley. Do you have Bayley win the match by duct taping, a la John Cena versus Batista, duct taping Bianca to the ring post where she can't move? Do you bury her under the announce table, a la Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and plus a million matches with the Big Show? Or do you have Bianca Belair retain? This is a tough one because it's believable for either woman to win. But now, if Bayley wins, who do you feed to Bayley? Do we get another Bianca Belair match with that? Do we get a Sasha versus Bayley? Will we get a Naomi versus Bayley? Bayley's a heel. So who would you put in that place? So this is very tough for me because I feel Bianca's title reign has gotten stale, and I think it's time for a change. So I am probably wrong on this, but I'm going to go anyway, and I am going to say Bayley's going to win the title. I am probably wrong on that, but I am going to go with Bayley. This match to me has minimal interest to me, but at the same time, I have some curiosity to it. and that is Braun Strowman versus Omos. And WWE, especially under Vince, he loved to do these big man matches. Okay, back in the day, you had Maple, also known as Viscera, also known as Big Daddy V. You had him go against, Mark Henry at one point. You had Vader go against Yokozuna at one point. I even think you had, when Viscera was in his King Mabel days, I think you may have had a little skirmish with him and Yokozuna. I could be wrong on that. Big John Studd back in the day. They like these big man things. And they did. I think it was Backlash, 2000. I don't know, maybe 7 or 8. I don't think it was 2006, but it was definitely at a Backlash event, and you can look that up, when they did Big Show versus the Great Khali. And the problem when you got these two big guys is like they just look this stiff, like it's just in slow motion. It just doesn't look good. Yeah, it looks good in the sense that Big Show is choke slamming the Great Khali, or the Great Khali can lift. That's the thing, that Khali can lift up Big Show can lift up Khali. Viscera can lift up Mark Henry. The usual guys who can't slam them. Now you're gonna see them actually be able to do some of these moves, but it just looks. I can't think of what I want to say, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say. But now Braun has changed. Braun used to be that stiff guy when he first came up, but he has lost a ton of weight. He's in amazing shape. He has gotten much more nimble on how he moves. Omos, is still in that stammering, sluggish, giant, status. So I don't know how well he's going to match up with Braun, because right now, to me, Braun has the speed. So can we have a decent looking match between the two of them? Maybe, because you have Triple H leading his creative, where Vince would probably have this slow, just boring, test of strength and, resting holds and all that kind of crap that you usually see in these big man matches. I mean, take a look at Big Show versus Great Khali. Find that event. Like I said, I think it was at a Backlash event. I don't remember the year, but look for that. Watch that match, and you'll see what I'm talking about. As far as who's going to win, well, I was going to say if Vince was there, we wouldn't even see Braun Strowman. But if Vince was there, he would definitely have Omos winning. But I think Braun Strowman's going to win this match. So I'm going Braun Strowman on this one. This feud just has not interested me at all. And that's Drew McIntyre versus Karrion Kross. It just hasn't sparked my interest in it. It kind of feels forced a little bit. Like, I don't know. It is just uninteresting to me. And I like Drew. I like Karrion Kross, but the feud does nothing for me. And they're going to have a steel cage match. And as I said numerous times, you want to keep Karrion Kross strong. But again, it's hard to tell now with Triple H running things, because you would know Vince would give Drew his win back. So does Drew win by pinfall, or does Drew win by escaping the cage? I think you protect Karrion Kross by having Drew escape the cage. So, again, I think I'm wrong on this. I think I'm going against my better judgment, but I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre winning this match. And I'm going to go with him winning by escaping the cage, not by pinfall. I mean, if he loses by pinfall, is it really going to hurt Karrion Kross? Probably not. But I'm still going to say Drew McIntyre is going to win by escaping the cage. This next match, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Now, I'm excited that they've sort of rekindled this somewhat feud, because to me, it never got the respect that it should have gotten. I know they did the thing, what was it, at Royal Rumble or Day One, whatever the event was, that Paul Heyman reunited with Roman, you know, having Bobby retain his title. But then, we never got to see anything at the Elimination Chamber because Bobby was taken out. Then I saw some reports today that there's a possibility that they're going to try to extend this feud to WrestleMania. And my thing is, how do you do that? Because they really never gave you a reason why Brock Lesnar returned to confront. Now, obviously, we know Brock is just here for a payday. But why did you go after Bobby? Because the reason why Bobby defeated you at Royal Rumble or the Day One event is because of Roman. You did not have any, clash with Bobby at Elimination Chamber because he was taken out. So then you went into your stuff with Roman at WrestleMania, and you did your stuff at SummerSlam. So you had no other, connection to Bobby. You had no reason to be pissed with Bobby. And then the time that you let go by. It's sort of like when they did Undertaker and Brock Lesnar back in 2015. The criticism of that was, well, why are you having Undertaker wait over a year now to avenge his loss? Because he lost at WrestleMania 30, and then WrestleMania 31, he wrestled Bray Wyatt, and Brock wrestled Roman, and that's where, what's-his-face, Seth, had cashed in. And then later on that year, when it was Brock versus Seth at the Battleground pay-per-view, you have The Undertaker come back. And then you have Undertaker versus Brock at SummerSlam. And then you have them have their final encounter in the Hell in the Cell match. But the criticism was, why are you making Undertaker wait over a year? And then the reasoning that you gave was a weak one. It made Undertaker look like a crybaby. The reasoning was because Undertaker was pissed off that Brock kept bragging that he broke the streak. So Bobby never really bragged about beating Brock. Yes, he cut the promo. He said that he had beaten Brock Lesnar. But, again, why are we having this feud? Now, if it was explained and I missed it, I apologize. But I don't recall seeing a reasoning why they're doing this match. So how do you now try to stretch this another, 4 or 5 months? How? I mean, I hope that they let them have a decent match, which would be what? You could do a 6-minute match with these guys or, 5, 8-minute match with them. Back and forth, suplex, spear, barricade, all that stuff, and then that's it. But it's hard to tell who's going to win this match. I don't think it hurts Bobby if he loses, and I don't think it hurts Brock if he loses. So I kind of have to say, I really don't know how to judge this match. Because is Brock avenging his loss, what happened to him earlier in the year, January? You know what I mean? Again, what is the purpose? Yes, we know Brock is there for the payday, but you're giving us this match. Why? Especially with these two guys. I think there has to be a compelling reason to have them in the match. To me, it's sort of random. And I think these are two guys that you don't throw in random matches, But, again, try to figure out who's going to win this match. I don't know. I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I think they're going to do a smash finish. I think they're going to do a finish where both men can't get back to their feet. So you know what? I'm going to go. This is going to be a draw. This is going to be a double count out. I don't see Brock pinning Lashley. I don't see Lashley pinning Brock Lesnar. And then we'll see if this feud extends after that. So I'm going to go with a draw on that one. Next match was the OC versus the Judgment Day. I'm going with Judgment Day all the way on this one because of Rhea Ripley. Because, and it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake that AJ was saying we have a Rhea problem. By the way, the body slam that she did on Luke Gallows last week was beautiful. I mean, I remember saying that the Raquel girl, I think, had like Chyna's look, but they are booking Rhea, very similar to how Chyna was booked. And the great thing is that, Rhea is not as muscular or defined as Chyna was, and I made a point like with Cesaro. I mean, girls got some strength. And just because like Cesaro doesn't look like Bobby Lashley doesn't mean my man's got some strength that he could, do some amazing things. But just the way she scooped him up, held him, just slammed him after, and then it's like, what you gonna do? Just the way she antagonized him afterwards. I mean, Rhea is just firing all cylinders right now. And she just must be just enjoying the hell out of herself right now. But it's not a mistake that AJ Styles said we have a Rhea problem. And I think she will continue to be a problem. I think the feud will continue because the Judgment Day needed to move away from Rey Mysterio, which I'll get to that in a little bit. They had to move away from Rey for now. And they had to move away from Edge for now because that's coming back up. So does AJ now look for a female to join him to help him battle Judgment Day and Rhea Ripley? Or will we see AJ, Edge, and Beth Phoenix versus Damian Priest, Finn Balor, and Rhea Ripley? Now that's a possibility. I would like to see Beth versus Rhea one-on-one match. Are we going to get another Finn Balor Edge match? I can see that. Probably at Survivor Series. I can see that. But again, I can also see AJ and Edge teaming up with Beth to take on the Judgment Day. I can definitely see that too. But for this, I am going with the Judgment Day. Now, with Rey going to SmackDown. So, I believe Rey is supposed to be fighting Gunther. I believe it's supposed to be this Friday on SmackDown that he's supposed to be challenging for the Intercontinental Championship. I would be very surprised if Dominic does not show up and cost his father the title. I would be very surprised. Yes, they had to move away from Rey, the whole Judgment Day storyline, just kind of let that simmer. But I think you have to get that match of Dominic versus Rey in there. But you have to have Dominic continue to antagonize his father and continue to cost his father matches. So what I think you need to do is have Dominic prevent him from winning the Intercontinental Championship. Now you have a lot of space between pay-per-view event. Well, not really. I don't think there's a pay-per-view event in December. And if you guys have seen, the Day 1 event has been canceled. So it's just going to be Royal Rumble in January. I would think somehow have Rey versus maybe Roman for the championship. And again, have Dominic interfere with his father. So in a way, You're keeping them apart, but you're not keeping them apart, if you know what I mean. It's not overkill. Let Dom pop in here and there to cost his father those moments. And I think in time that will help bring in Dom's mother and sister. And again, as I mentioned before, you can have Rhea attack them, and then that will be the trigger for Rey to say, okay, Dom, now it's time for you to get your ass kicked. Does it have to be a WrestleMania match? No. Can you do that at the Royal Rumble? But I think it's more special if you do it at WrestleMania, because I think by the time we get there, I can see the Judgment Day splitting. By that time, it probably has run its course. And I'm saying that for that, you don't know what's going to happen later. But, I thought the Judgment Day should have ended a while ago because, it was just so stale. But, now they've sort of cycled out of Rey, get away from Edge too, but that's going to circle back. And it kind of went into AJ Styles. But I think that's going to bleed into getting Edge back in the picture because he has to avenge what happened to Beth. And right now, obviously, they're having him out because Beth is supposed to be healing from her attack. And as I said, I would like to see Rhea and Beth one-on-one. And I think you might get a little taste of that in the Women's Royal Rumble if Beth is going to be in the Royal Rumble. They kind of sort of do their ending of the feuds in there too. So I think Survivor Series, you're going to get that 6 mixed tag match. And I think you'll get a little bit of your one-on-one in the Royal Rumble. That's how I see it going. But for sure, Judgment Day is going to win. Judgment Day has to win, and it's because of Rhea Ripley. And then the final match is the Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. We all know what this is going to be. The question is how is the match going to go? Is the match going to go Roman dominating the match, and Logan fighting from underneath, gets that lucky shot, and it's like, oh my God, he's going to do it. Of course, Roman kicks out, or somebody pulls a referee out, whatever. Or is it a competitive match with the sense that Roman has underestimated Logan Paul, and Logan Paul is really just keeping Roman off his game? So I'm sort of leaning towards the first one, that Logan's going to be fighting from underneath. And because they're making the point of saying that lucky shot, which makes you think, okay, he's got to get his ass kicked for probably 80-90% of the match, and then it's going to be that little pocket where now he's getting in the offense, and then Roman starts to counter him, and then Roman miscalculates or something like that, and Logan gets that lucky shot, and then you think we get the false finish. So. Again, we know Roman's winning. It's just how are they going to present this match to us? And I'm going with the first one. So, just to recap, I am saying that Alexa Bliss and Asuka are going to retain the women's tag team titles over Damage Control, Dakota Sky, and Io Sky. The Usos are going to retain the tag team championships against the Brawling Brutes. This is one that I think I'm wrong on, but I'm going to go with Bayley defeating Bianca Belair for the women's Raw women's title. I'm going to go with Braun Strowman over Omos. I'm going with Drew McIntyre. I think I'm wrong on this one as well. I'm going with Drew McIntyre over Karrion Kross, but Drew McIntyre escaping the cage. I think the Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley match is going to go to a draw. The OC, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows, and Carl Anderson versus the Judgment Day, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio. The Judgment Day is going to win, and Rhea Ripley is going to play a big part in that. And the Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul match, Logan Paul is going to win. I'm sorry, Roman Reigns is going to win. And that's it. Surprisingly, SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey is not going to be on the card. If you saw last week on SmackDown, it looks like my prediction might be coming to fruition, that we have Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. It looks like they might be teaming up. And when we get to War Games, we will see. But you know what? I'm going to change my prediction. Bianca Belair is going to retain the title because I think that is going to lead into the War Games match. It could go either way. Because if Bayley lost, if Bayley won, would Bianca challenge her to the War Game? No. This is how I'm going to see this going. I'm changing my prediction. Bianca Belair is going to retain her title. Damage Control is going to try to help her. Asuka and Alexa Bliss in turn will help Bianca. She'll retain. I see Bianca coming out saying, listen, you know what, all your girls, all this has to end. So let's do the War Games, my girls against yours. You find two more partners. And I think that's how we get Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey mixed into War Games. Because my prediction is it was going to be Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and her two surprise partners would be Sasha Banks and Naomi versus Damage Control and Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey as their partner for the female War Games. That's how I see it, and that's how I'm sticking to it. So I changed it. Bianca Belair is going to retain, because for whatever reason they're not having SmackDown on there. The SmackDown Women's Championship, for whatever reason they're having it on the show. And again, we're going to go with that. Who realistically, besides Shayna Baszler, do you have to face Ronda? Now, Charlotte is supposed to be returning, but do we want to see Charlotte versus Ronda again? Remember, for the two WrestleManias, they wanted to have one where Charlotte versus Ronda, which we got, and then Ronda versus Becky. Now, Becky's out right now, but will Becky jump to SmackDown, and then will you have Charlotte jump to Raw? Because, we were going towards that path of Bianca and Becky sort of forming this tag team, but Becky got hurt. And you can see them moving along. So does it make sense to have Becky come back now and join? I guess you could do that. So rather, if Sasha and Naomi's not coming back and you need partners for Bianca for the War Games, okay, you can slip in Becky, but then who's going to be that fifth person? So, I don't know where they're going with Ronda as champion. Don't know where they go with Liv Morgan. As you can see, she's doing a bit of a character change. Not sure where they're going with that. So right now, there is really no, to me, realistic path for the women's SmackDown, for the SmackDown Women's Championship right now. Yes, we saw seemingly ending their relationship, Shayna Baszler choke out Natalya. But come on, is Natalya really going to be a threat to Ronda Rousey right now? No. Can we believe that she'll put up a decent fight? Yes. But is she really going to win? No. So, not quite sure. So I guess it makes sense to leave that off the card. But those are my predictions for Crown Jewel. Like I said, WWE this time is really looks like they're trying to put on a good show. Excuse me. And hopefully the show will go on. Hopefully everyone's going to be safe again with the news of Iran planning to do these attacks in Saudi Arabia. Maybe it's just a scare tactic just to put people on edge. Who knows? But again, let's hope everybody gets there safe and leave safely. I will be back on to do my reaction to the show. As I mentioned, I'm going to try to post a little bit more often by doing some profile podcast. My first one will be Rhea Ripley, and then after that, I will do Austin Theory, because I feel Austin Theory has lost some steam. Um, Also, it's funny. I was saying before when Triple H took over, we hardly saw R-Truth, but now we've seen R-Truth come back. But now just on NXT, it looks like he got hurt, so he might be gone for a while. But notice that you have not seen one sign of the 24/7 championship. That just faded away. Also, notice that Elias is back. That stupid Ezekiel character is gone because it made no damn sense. So, I will be doing, probably I will do a sort of a highlight on Triple H as well, head of talent relations and creative right now, because right now WWE is, is firing all cylinders right now. And now where I think some of the excitement has sort of cooled a little bit, right now we were all pumped up because we were getting all these returns. I think at one point we were starting to cool off, but now I think you sort of increased that excitement because Bray Wyatt's back and seeing what he's going to do. Now there's this thing about the Wyatt Six faction, and now there's speculation that the guy in the mask from last Friday is Bo Dallas, because we've all said when he was doing the Bray Wyatt, um, the the cult leader gimmick with the Wyatt family, it was obvious to have Bo in the group. Why didn't you have Bo there? I mean, he had the beard and all that stuff. Why did you leave him out? But for whatever reason, Vince didn't want to put him. And I would not be surprised if Bray pitched that idea. Maybe he did, because we probably would have heard that by now. Maybe he didn't, but it just seemed logical to do something like that, and and it didn't happen. So maybe now it's happening. But I just think Triple H is shooting on all cylinders right now. With Bray Wyatt being back, the stuff that Sami Zayn is doing in the Bloodline. I mean, as you saw, he had everybody cracking up on Friday, in the ring. He had everybody breaking character. So you had that going great. Excuse me. You have Seth Rollins doing some of the best stuff in a while. You have Rhea Ripley doing some great stuff. Right now, Sami Zayn is probably the one that's carrying SmackDown right now. I have no idea what to do with this Baron Corbin thing. I mean, you made this big deal about him going with JBL, and to me, there's really been no change in the character. So I don't know what we're doing with that. You have some excitement a little bit with, as I said, the Judgment Day because of Rhea Ripley. It looks like, you're really getting Dominic to really sort of come out of his shell. He's doing more mic work now. I think some things could be a little bit better on his mic work, but, listen, this is really his first time really having a microphone in his hand. And, I think he's doing a great job right now. And I think it was great that he had to get away from Ray. Not a bad thing, but, it was time to separate them. The thing with Dexter Lumis now this is starting to seem a little bit weird. I think it's sort of a weak storyline, to be honest with you. I even feel like The Miz has sort of cooled off since Vince has left. As I mentioned, Austin Theory has cooled off as well. But, overall, there's still some excitement in WWE. Now, after Bray, probably the next excitement for somebody to return is obviously Sasha Banks and Naomi. When they're going to return, I don't know. I think it's imminent that they return soon. I think it's just finding the right thing for them. But, and then obviously you have The Rock waiting in the wings. And if you've seen in some interviews, they've been teasing him with the whole tribal chief thing. So, a lot of excitement going on right now, guys. Whereas on the other side, on AEW, I'm not seeing it. But anyway, like I said, look out for those other videos that will be coming soon. I'll try to do, I think I'm not trying. I think I'm going to do like one a week. I think that's what I'm going to do. One a week, and then you'll get like two when I'm doing the prediction shows. If I miss a week, I apologize. It's between work and school. I'm an accountant. We're going to the end of the year now, so year-end stuff, it gets a little crazy. Auditing and all that stuff comes up. So if I miss it, I apologize, but I'm going to be definitely trying to be more diligent and pumping out more videos. Again, please like, please comment. I want to know if you guys like this. If you don't, something should change or not. Just, when you listen to this, I just want to get all the feedback. Tell me if it sucks. Tell me if it's great. Just tell me what you think. Who's going to win? Who's not going to win? Where you see things going? I want this to be a back and forth. So, again, thank you for listening. Enjoy Crown Jewel, and I'll be back on Saturday with my reaction to it. Enjoy, and if you're watching the World Series, enjoy the game.